You're right, actually. Again, the track record over the last 11 years is then a proof point for a lot of new investors who will sort of be participating, in your future funds and your future fundraising. Um, I mean, and so some of these relationships are very, very strong, right? A24,
Mm.
XYZ
Yep.
films. You have MK2, and then of course you talked
Yep.
about Red Bull as well. These
Yeah.
are really strong partnerships for you.
Yeah.
What I mean. At what point did the partnerships enter your overall sort of model? Did you start with partnerships, or did the partnerships develop over a period of time?
We started our first partnership with the Fund 2
Okay.
with our Fund 1 we did single film investments and invested in gaming and animation studios, and then we, with the learnings and also we noticed how important it is to control the volatility of the single IPs so I think there is no sense in making single film investments because nobody knows anything about anything in film industry except that they perhaps know what is good story, and they know the audience like A24 does. But still, it's impossible to know what audience really loves and what they accept. And that means that some of the films do better, some do worse. You don't really know what happens beforehand, and the control of that volatility is really important. So that is why we noticed that to concentrate in the cooperation with the certain studios and co-investing together with them, because they know the market, they read 1,000 scripts a year. Our expertise will be in the access to capital and reading marketing plans and analyzing sales estimates, building a cooperation with the studio, and we can't compete with the studios trying to find the best script.
Yeah.
You have to know what you can do, and everybody should concentrate on what they can do. And
that's right.
So to understand our own limits is also very, very important.
No, it's a fascinating story. So you start Fund 1 with project-based investments, and then by Fund 2 you're already into Slate financing partnerships. That's an interesting trajectory. And then I'm guessing that the overall market has also changed quite a bit in the last 11 years, right? I mean, box office did get the shock of COVID, and then you had streaming, which is now bigger than linear, from potential acquirers of IP and content.
Yes. It's a big change, and it's interesting how other industries developed much faster than the film and TV. Yeah. Like you can find travel agencies anymore on the street, or what is a bookshop. So world has changed a lot, but with the media, media was more conservative, I think, and managed to slow down the development more than, for example, music. Of course, music takes less bandwidth, so that is why music platforms like Spotify and Tidal can have been developed earlier, but also that industry was more innovative and like the premium film industry was really conservative. But when the COVID came, it also helped us because the convergers, internet convergers, and the change of distribution, it was fast, and people made their choices. And now we can see what happened for the free TV, traditional TV. It's practically in the internet now, and cable channels still have survived better than the broadcast TV. But world is changing, and it's funny when in 1998, 1999 years, there was a saying in the internet agencies that everything that can be digital will be, and it was true. It happened slightly later than we thought, but still it is our everyday life now.
That's right. Yep, I can totally see that, and lots of people are actually sort of putting those as parallels for AI as well. That right now there is a big hype cycle, and that AI will actually, get into lots of places in our lives, but maybe not as fast as this hype cycle is expecting it to sort of come in.
Yeah.
So
And funny, if you look at the Gartner hype curves in the 90s, if I remember right, there was 1994, there was artificial intelligence on the Gartner hype curve.
okay.
When the first
And here we
hype
are.
curve was published in 1994. Yeah. And
Gosh.
very familiar buzzwords during the 90s.
Yep. That's right. But one of the curiosities I had again, Tanu, was that a lot of financiers who we speak with typically talk about a big problem area with producers not really understanding budgeting in a very good manner. They are very good with the IP. They're very good at their craft. They're very good with how to tell the story. They have a great vision of how they want the creative output to be. But the budgeting has not been one of their strongest points. And I was actually curious, how do you sort of deal with this issue? And I'm sure in your fund one, when you were actually doing single project financing, you would typically face a lot of those, issues about reality checks to producers saying, hey, is this real? Is this business plan a real plan? Can you talk a little bit about some of those experiences, actually?
Yeah, when we're doing single film investments, you do them with the producer or the production company and the original creators, and their concern every day is, how do I get my next film financed? And when they get their film financed, they still, during the shootings of the film, they think, how do I get my next film financed? So that is the eternal cycle of there, and as long as the production company or the creators can't develop the IP portfolio, it will last. It's like a continuous project financing problem, and their ambition level is high, and the budget is always smaller than their ambition. And then they try to reach their ambition with a limited capital, and still there is a continuous thought: how do I get my next film financed? So if you can't get rid of that eternal problem, things don't get better. But when you can develop an IP catalog and utilize that and develop that for and all the rights you have in your catalog, you start to be it will become an industry. But as long as you can't develop the catalog, you're not an industry. You're just it's like an artisan work, which is great, but it doesn't scale.
That's a great observation, actually. That also gets the producers then to focus on the project at hand rather than worry about the next projects and the financing of those. Very, very interesting observation.